Hello everyone, what a nice weather we're having. It's very sunny, it's very picturesque here in Hokkaido. We're here in Tokachi Speedway for the first round of the 2024 Formula Hololive Japan Tsuyo Cup. The first race of Tsuyo Cup, 6th round overall in the Japanese Aero Formula Hololive racing season. Of course, we're here in Tokachi Speedway, so let's take a look into what Tokachi Speedway has to offer. 15 corners in total, 5.1 kilometers of racetrack that we're going to have to deal with, 50 laps of racing as well, for a total of 250 kilometers due to this race being labeled as a Super Brake. We've seen 138s and possible high 137s. Well, what's to say we could see mid 137s because we have been we can officially confirm that the target lap times have been officially shattered. It's the first round, of course, of the Tsuyo Zakko. We've already raced the Zakko Cup race yesterday with Chanel Markman winning for Jufute Radin. And then we also want to talk about how it's the northernmost track in Japan, with its location being in Sarabetsu in Hokkaido, the literal northeastern part of Japan. And then there's also the technical part of the track where you get to see a lot of the features of this track. You can see here there's a lot of medium speed corners which you can take it in third gear, but we'll talk about that later. So let's take a look into the standings of both the Tsuyo and Zakko Cup as of right now. As we're seeing this, as of us hosting this race, the Tsuyo Cup has yet to be hosted, but we have had some initial info from the Zakko Cup, with of course Chanel Markman's win being Sean Pauli and Mohamed Shakib Reza. They currently occupy the top 3. Just make up the rest of the standings as you can read here. Now, here's something that we want to pay attention. You know, there's a bit of into this race with Mohamed Farabashi reflected in the standings yet. We'll show you that once the race underway and they get the officially correct name. So want to tell us if want to Dimash, I mean, it's guy who are red hot in terms of form, but especially for Dimash, they have the most consistent Formula Hololive, given that he has finishes on 4 to 5 races before it. Behind him is Lorenzo Ricci, who has won also 2 races, albeit him being very much less consistent than Damashnev. So lots of things to watch out for. Mapadusium also is officially a race winner. Shazan Reza and Grim Olgo also came up with the heroic with one win for them. Same goes for Dave Goodwin. Unfortunately, there is Mohamed Shakib Reza, but he of course did not make the Tsuyo. And with that being said, let's move on into qualifying. My name is Mohamed Shahid Reza in the commentary booth, and we have a pretty stacked lineup of drivers. Lots of expectations for a lot of these lot as we got the first cars officially out on track. That looks like Alton Tanara. So we got the first cars officially out on track. That's Alton Tanara, number 5 Nekomato Kayu, on that Nekomato Kayu car. Just want to give you a bit of a rundown on what this ride has to offer. Now, Tanara has had his maiden podium finish in Formula Hololive, and Kayu debut podium in Formula Hololive. So Antanaro is just going to try to ride this high for as much as he can, as he's about to get this at least Okayo car up inside the top 10 of the Tsuyo Cup standings. And just looking at the other drivers, Michael Turner missed out on the Tsuyo series and Hololive GT3, but at the very least made the Tsuyo Cup. That is at the very least something for him. Raji Kaczynski also has been pretty good so far for Yusuke Choko. Despite Choko actually preferring the originals, she has used the bright uniforms as a guest entrant, so that helps Kaczynski's efforts in Formula Hololive. Jake Goodwin has of course won a Formula Hololive race. That was the previous Sugo Grand Prix finale for Okami Miyo, of course, who has been fully committed to the bright uniforms. You could see a lot of Hololive members who are committed to the bright uniforms being represented by Tsuyo Cup drivers. Vlasta Tomashnev across calls a bit of both, but he's still here. Won 2 races, split A champion by a mile. Yu Chaeyeon has Takane Lui, who has been committed to the bright uniforms as of late. Same goes for Lorenzo Ricci for Hosha Marine. Kanata has also been committed to the bright uniforms exclusively since the start of 2024. Well, except that one Yusuke Choko Live, one usually appeared in originals. There's Rasen Karasho with Lapis Darkness also being committed to the bright uniforms as of late. And here's Daniel Barger. He was out of the Tsuyo positions until the final race of the season, where he grabbed a clutch 4th place for him to secure a Tsuyo Cup spot right at the death. He of course represents Hoshimachi Suisei, who is fully committed to the bright uniforms. With that being said, let's get on board to Daniel Barger for a hot lap here in Tokachi. You need to get a good exit off the final corner to get a good run on that main straight here. 6th gear, possibly 295, but 287 for Barger as he comes into the first corner. 4th gear, then 2nd corner, 3rd gear. And here's another 3rd gear corner. He hangs around 4th this time, Barger. Yeah, this one's a 3rd gear corner for sure. And then that comes to the 8th corner in Terrace on that right. And then he comes into South Top, 29.5409 for Daniel Barger in the first sector. There's a lot of corners we just hang around in 3rd and 4th. That's when you know you have to carry these corners with mid-speed. Here's one of the slower corners here. Adak Bend, and then coming into the hairpin, which is also one of the slower corners of Tokachi. Use the access road as a brake marker for you to brake at the hairpin. Hang around in the 4th gear actually, close corner of the circuit. Then you come into Twins, double apex right-hander, take it in 3rd gear, and then you come into the 90-degree corner of West End, 5th gear, downshift into 4/4 extra turn in, and then here comes Victory, a slightly sharper corner. Hang around in 3rd gear this time, and then coming into the final S, turn 14. Hang around in 3rd gear, and then you can try to tempt yourself by going flat out on the final corner for you to have a very good run on that main straight. So we're looking into drivers who have already set their lap times. Ricci and Williams up there. Barger is going to be good enough for 6. Lorenzo Ricci is turning up the style right now with a first place with a current provisional pole as he continues to improve on that first sector. 7 drivers yet to complete their laps. Hoshizan Ori is not having a great run here. He's currently down in 16th, and behind Rio is actually So Byung-eun, who's actually struggling to get a good lap time in because of Rio. Goyena's up in 6th place. Alcantara improves his time to get himself up into 3rd. Really might see some improvement on his final sector, but only good enough for 18th. Olgor is in 4th place. Raji Kaczynski, Jake Goodwin, Kaczynski up into 11th. Farah Bashir is about to complete her first lap in qualifying as she puts her Luna car in 10th place. Mama Shadon Rez as his replacement, doing pretty okay at the moment as she is is ripping it onto for Luna, being at least a good top 10 contender. Looking into the rest of the field, we have Richie and Goodwin, who have won Formula Hololive races before, and then Tyler Williams was stuck in third, and Antana in fourth place. But speaking of, Tyler Williams continues to have improved lap time. He now gets into the front row provisionally, 4/10 behind Lorenzo Ricci. And speaking of which, Rustin Carrasco puts up a good lap for him for Lapless Darkness, 1:38.512 for what's probably one of the best pure Japanese drivers we've ever seen. Speaking of which, I just wanted to check on the other situations here. Reba now up into 11th place after, or rather down to 11th place after lap time adjustments from other drivers, especially from Rustin Carrasco, who has had some improvements. Again, apologies for the background, I really can't do anything about that. Anyways, looking into some current drivers at the back, surprisingly we have DuCM, who's currently down in 20th place. Was not able to find some times until now. He's now up into 17th place. He moves away from the back row. Interesting racing, interesting qualifying session here right now with half of the qualifying session still to go. Just wanted to check on the current setup of the cars is based on what we're seeing in the rear wings. We have Ricci, who has a high downforce wing. Tyler Williams on for a lower downforce wing, so he will struggle at the high downforce sections. He does improve the Tyler Williams though on his current lap. Well, the lap that he just set. He's now only just over a 10th behind Lorenzo Ricci. 8 drivers within a second of the pole sitter, and then a further 8 drivers within 2 seconds. Then again, we are talking about Tokachi Speedway, which is the longest track in the northern parts of Japan. And you can see here Tyler Williams actually does improve hugely. 28.999 for Williams on that first sector, as we're seeing lap time improvements from Hoshizo Norio and So Byung-eun to put themselves on the 9th row. Tyler Williams coming into the back straight, coming into the hairpin, as Williams tries to stretch his car to the absolute limit here in these high downforce sections, in which he will absolutely lose a good amount of time. Sector to sector timing beam is just around the corner with Kaczynski up in 8th place. Williams, oh, doesn't lose a lot of time there, Williams. If he can find a good amount of time on that final sector, then he's going to be grabbing his first pole position since the Capture the Moment Grand Prix Split A race. All that Williams needs is a very good final set of corners and a very good run at the back main straight, and he comes into the pits. Very much a waste. I know he's going to be running out of fuel right at the end, but it's a good time to try. But maybe he just doesn't want to tempt the officials if he runs out of fuel. If he runs out of fuel, then there's no... then he cannot have his fuel samples tested, and he is going to get disqualified from qualifying, and he will start at the back. Meanwhile, Bargers gets up into 13th place at Sky 15th. When you think about it, there's a full grid of Gen 3 cars currently in the Tsuyo Cup. Leonardo Goyena, Michael Turner, and then we have So Byung-eun and Lorenzo Ricci currently competing in the Tsuyo Cup. 20% of the entire Tsuyo Cup lineup comprises of the Gen 3 members being represented by the respective drivers. Speaking of which, Williams needs to find some improvement, but if what we're seeing in qualifying is anything to go by, let's just hope that he can have a very good second stint. Speaking of which, Kaczynski bounced Carrasco down to 4th. He now gets up into 3rd place. And right now we have Kanziski currently still in control of this qualifying session at the very least, as he's you can see here he actually improved at 28.961 on that first sector. He does look to have a higher downforce car, so I believe he's not going to be losing a lot of time on that second sector. Actually, he might gain something. Goodwin has good lap time. He now gets into 4th place, bumps Crossia down to 5th, and Tannerau 6th, Olgor and Cheon 7th and 8th. Then we have the Mashnev and Goyena currently 9th and 10th in their lineup. Just wanted to check around. And here's Kaczynski barreling down one of the back straights coming into West End when he's lost a lot of time there, especially in that second sector. So, not exactly helping his cause as he is coming into the final corner, and of course he's also coming into the pits. Here's Williams on a new set of rubber for him to start a new qualifying lap. He's been pretty good for Canada these days. One of the better representative of Canada since Alex ran in 2022. Also, take a look at his helmet though. New helmet design from this point onwards. It's quintessentially English, except a few certain parts. But we got the Canada's halo on this part of the flag. Of course, part of his Heimin side. And then there's also the rose, which is the official flower of the United Kingdom. Nice to see viewers in the stream right now. Hope you're enjoying this qualifying session so far in the Tokachi Super Prix Split A race, or rather Tokachi Super Prix Tsuyo Cup race. I want to hear your thoughts of this race so far, on what your favorites, who's going to be your favorites to win the Tsuyo Cup race. If you're enjoying the stream, please drop a like. If you want to see more of these Hololive types of racing, then you can drop a subscription to our channel. Anyways, Williams continues to run across the racetrack, or rather runs on the racetrack for him to get his drive in. And of course he's gonna be stuck behind So Byung-eun, who's actually one of the slower cars. And he is looking like he's on a hot lap only. You can see here Byung-eun absolutely causes a good amount of trouble. Speaking of which, we wanted to take a look into Williams' helmet as he's gonna get stuck in traffic. You can see here, there's actually a bit of extra elements on that rear part of the helmet. It's our logo, and of course the Angela Sims tribute. Speaking of Angela Sims tribute, what's coming in Riba? Currently in 10th place. And Riba actually requested to have the Angela Sims tribute on his halo in honor of course, Angela Sims, who passed away last month. As Riba is about to clear Wei Liu, who is also struggling in this round as he's currently down in 20th place. Riba is trying his best to stretch his car to make a move against Wei Liu. This first set of corners for Riba to at the very least have some clean air, as the timer is going to be set to 0 with the qualifying session coming to a close. Nine drivers have called time in this qualifying session, as Riba only is good enough for a lap time 5/10 behind on that first sector. Speaking of which, because this is also done, Tyler Williams still stuck behind traffic. Lorenzo Ricci is free to attack. Jay Goodwin, we might see some surprises from here. Oh, that's a lot of loss on the first two sectors as he's coming across the line. Rim Olgo, we're going to surprise. He's now up into 4th place. Looking at the rest of the field, we are looking at Antara doesn't improve. And because our Leo car number 8 gets up into a place there. There's Murasaki Shion car is still ready to attack, despite Shion, of course, not streaming these days. And Vladislav Damashnev from out of nowhere. 137.929. That. Alright, I'm not sure if we're fixed or not because the bit rate is not forthcoming, but I think we might be seeing some improvements finally. Just wanted to check. Just want to check if the internet is back on. So apologies if we have to cut ourselves from the end of qualifying, but there was a surprise at the end. Vladislav Damashnev has snatched pole position from everyone's noses with a 137.929. Congratulations to Damashnev, who has been absolutely clinical this season. Speaking of which, let's take a look into the starting 11. Again, we apologize if the end of the qualifying session has been cut. We have had some issues with the internet, but let's just get on with it with Vladislav Damashnev as he currently sets his pole position at Tokachi Speedway for Aki Rosenthal. He now lines up alongside Lorenzo Ricci, who have been dominating Split A. Of course, Ricci represents Hosha Marine Day, occupied the front row. Tyler Williams starts third for Amane Kanta. Raja Kaczynski starts fourth for Yusuke Choko. For the best driver in Split B right now, Rim Olgor almost missed out on the Tsuyo Cup by a single point. He is currently the best Split B driver currently in this after this qualifying session. He starts fifth, Ozora Subaru. Jay Goodwin, who the most recent winner of the Isuka Grand Prix Split B race, starts sixth. That's in Garasho 7 for Laplace Darkness with Altazan Tanara 8 for Nekomata Kayu. Kizar Leo starts 9th for Murasaki Shion with 10th place. Kamine Riba for Shira Botan. 11th place Yu Cheon Takani Lui. Then Nagoyana's 12th place is for Rosana Pecora. Michael Turner 13th for Shiragari Noah with Hoshimachi Suisei, lining up 14th with driver Daniel Barger behind the wheel. Farba Shiraz's first Formula Hololive qualifying is okay with Himura Luna's car in 15th with Ed Sky 16th, the Split B champion. That's where he will start. He was his for Kazama Roja in 16th place in car number 16. 18th is Hoshizuna Rio for Nakagiri IMA with Maverick. 17th is Hoshizuna Rio, car number 18 for Nakagiri IMA with Maverick CM 18 for Omar Polka. 19th place is Sobyang Eun for Shiranui Flair, and 20th place is Ray Liu for Sakamata Chloe. Again, we apologize if the internet issues have been pretty much a problem, because at the end of this qualifying session we got to see, at least I get to see, Vladislav Damashnev having a very, very great run for himself. And fortunately the internet cut out on us, so apologies if any one of you have missed that moment. Every one of you has missed that moment. We apologize for that immensely. So with that being said, let's get on to the race. Fortunately, we have all 20 cars on our screens right now. And here we go. We have Vladislav Damashnev on the front row of the Tokachi Super Parade Tsuyo Cup race alongside Lorenzo Ricci in second place. And the race will be a go, and that is a pretty decent launch there from Damashnev. But look at Lorenzo Ricci, he might be able to challenge him on that front row, or rather for the race lead. Coming into turn 1, Damashnev manages to outbrake Lorenzo Ricci coming into the first corner. Farah Bashira gets down a position. Meanwhile, Tyler Williams has to go around the outside to steal something from Ricci, as Williams starts hanging on in third tree, coming into Acorn. Round inside and into Terrace. Williams by half the position. Yes, he does. Damashnev leading Williams, Ricci, Kaczynski, and then Olgar in 5th place. Goodwin and Tanara, Grasho, Leo, Kamina Reba in 10th place. While Cheon and Guyana were in a battle between each other, and they are now trading places. Guyana was 11th before he was overtaken back by Cheon. Oh, here's Bashira trying to attack Ed Sky. Ed Sky now down the inside of Daniel Barger. Meanwhile, Bashira has to defend against Rio. DCM has to defend against Byung-eun. Oh, and here comes Rio on the inside. Multiple drivers going double file at the hairpin and into twins. Rio is still under pressure from Bashira. She will attack back. Very, very nice racing here in Tokachi Speedway. As you can see here, Bashira really tries to stretch her car. Meanwhile, Goodwin tries to get close to Rim Olgor. Meanwhile, Byung-eun gets up into 17th place. So is now up into 17th place. And here comes Byung-eun, or rather Jake Goodwin on the inside of Rim Olgor for 6th place. Or rather 5th place is the target for him as he now tries to get himself into 5th place. He has to make the move at turn 3 before there's a counterattack at Acorn. That's a good move there by Goodwin. He now gets up into 5th place. Meanwhile, Ed Sky and Michael Turner's battles are not over yet. As you can see here, they're still side by side coming to terrace. And crucially, we have Turner just edging ahead of Ed Sky. And Taro currently now in 7th place, now trying to find an opportunity against Olgor. Will he make a move down the inside? You can see he's really trying to attack, but right now there's not enough real estate on that car to make it work. Here is Tanarazu on board, and meanwhile there is Bashira against So Byung-eun this time, as she is dead set on making this race work for her. She started pretty low in, I believe, 16th or 17th at the start, and now she's trying to make amends. Just shows her what she can do in this race. And now her opponent in front is Daniel Barger, who is currently up in the final point positions. Damasha 138952 continues to stretch the gap between himself and Williams. Luigi is just trying his best to get closer. Everyone from 11 mile back looks to be only be able to set a 141. Meanwhile, there's another battle at here. You can see here Byung-eun and Bashira once again. Byung-eun is trying to hold on to his position. Bashira is gonna try to find something, but Byung-eun just beats Bashira down the line, as Bashira has to settle at the moment for 17th place. Takeaways. Last race are started, so let's take a look into the race wheel monitor. As we've seen in the Zakov Cup race, they're looking for drivers who may pit early, and those who pit early might be very prone to making pit stop call error, as they might have to do a second pit stop that might waste time. But then again, oh goodness me. I just wanted to check on the current situation because the internet is also not working at the moment. So just excuse us while we're trying to fix the internet issue, because right now we have a serious internet problems right now. I'm actually going to entertain the idea of actually what do we call it? Delaying this race and seeing if we can find a solution to the internet problem. Looks like we're back at the moment. So we have paused the race temporarily. See if I could continue sending it, because we are seeing fluctuations in the bit rates. Really can't detect the 5G right now, so right now the internet is not working as intended. So we have to take some time to do a bit of relocation, see if we could remedy this issue. So apologies if we're gonna have to take some extended delays, because we're just gonna be in the middle of relocation. I think it's on Adak-RMS. Ah, taka ulit ako. So let's see if we're back here, and right now we are seeing some improvements in the connection front. 5G is still disabled. So we're gonna get this race officially resumed with the race back underway here. Again, as what we're saying here, the race field monitor right now is currently set at, right now, we're looking at only a few drivers who will be pitting in the next 3 laps, Yu Cheon being one of them, so she will be the most prone for making a pit stop error. Same goes for Shizuno Rio, but then again we saw drivers up front like Salman do the same thing. Shindo Markman pit a little bit later, and Alex Grant. And they managed to actually salvage something from their race, speaking of which, battles between Ryu and Maverick Ducim. They're now side by side in the final set of corners. Masha hasn't been seeing any improvement on that previous lap. That might open the door for Williams to try to fight back, to claw back the gap, the deficit that was lost. But right now we are back right now, and we are seeing more battles here this time between Byung-in and Barger, as Byung-in now gets himself up into 15th place. Players' recent birthday life completely bright, with only bright uniform usage to report. Meanwhile, Bashira and Rio going side by side. If you look at Bashira and Rio, Bashira is on a slightly different strategy here. She will be pitting at the very least in the next 7 laps. Rio will be pitting in the next 3 laps, from what we're seeing. So there will be a variance in strategies here in Tokachi. Although everyone's just going to be pitting before lap 15, and it will all blow over once the pit stop cycles conclude, and it's just going to be full run until the end. And even then, lap cars are not providing much of those battles here. Speaking of which, as you can see here, we are really trying to find a way past Bashira. Here's Bashira who's on board right now, as she is wheeling that Luna number 31 to something of note. Speaking of which, Bashira on board once again. And if you look at the gaps between these drivers, none of them have went below 0.3 of a second. So at this point, we are not going to record any overtaking battles that we might want to report. We're already seeing some personal best from a lot of drivers, but if you look at the gaps between Williams and the Mashnev, it still remains constant. As you can see here, you can see how much the Mashnev has absolutely stretched its gaps. Williams, Richie, Kaczynski, Goodwin, if you look at each of their gaps are only at around under a second, around maybe under 0.8 of a second. And if you look at the rest of the field here, the rest of the field as in the Mashnev and Williams, apologies here. The Mashnev is actually just about 3 seconds ahead of Williams. Looking to the rest of the line, Michael Turner 13th, at Sky 14th, Young in currently 15th, Barger 16th. Again, not really a lot to report here, as you can see here. Ooh, and you can see here there might be some battles here between that's Michael Turner and Daniel Goyena, the two Gen 3 cars. Spar between each other. As you can see here, Michael Turner for sure. Gainola goes down the inside. Rusawa de Pecora, number 11, coming into victory corner. There might be another car joining in the horizon. That's at Sky. Blast of the Martian, fastest lap, 38.653. Either way, at Sky is ready to pounce, or rather, he's ready to attack here on the final corner. As you can see here, or rather, that's So Byung-eun making the move against Ed Sky. As we have the first drivers making their pit stops, Yu Chae-yeon and Hoshizuna Ryo. They are at serious risk of underfueling their car on their pit stop. They will be at risk of having to do a second stop. Hoshizuna Ryo, yes, he will have to make a second stop. Yu Chae-yeon, she has to make a second stop as well. A misjudgment in their end, but they should not take a lot of time in the pit lane. Figure is Duciem and Ryu going side by side. Very great racing here in Tokachi right now in the early stages. Might fear what happens midway and through the end, because midway I fear that there might not be enough racing activity as we've seen in the Zaku Cup race. Five laps complete here in the Tokachi Speedway for the Tokachi Speedway Tsuyo Cup race. Again, we apologize for some of the concurrent internet problems. We have relocated to a different location in efforts to improve the internet. 5G apparently doesn't exist at the moment. Anyways, let's not backtrack ourselves. Oh, we're having a 5G finally. Anyways, that's how Williams now the fastest lap of the race that was previously set by the Mashnev, 1:38.150 for Williams, as he now tries to barrel his car, especially into the top spot, especially looking at Goodwin. He's already pitted, and unfortunately he will have to make a second pit stop again. Barger, Duciem, and Turner are next to make their pit stops, and there is Duciem right now coming into the pits. He will also have to make a second pit stop. Also, drivers opting to pit early. Here's Daniel Barger. 14th place is the name for him, as he is currently doing okay so far for Hoshimaki Suisei. Nothing too extraordinary to note. Meanwhile, Duciem gets out in 20th place. Unsurprisingly, behind Chae-yeon and Ryo. More pit stops to come. Michael Turner and Daniel Barger up next. If anyone here is watching the stream right now, please show your support by sharing the stream, dropping likes, and having subscriptions, subscribing to this channel if you want to see more. Anyways, more drivers coming into the pits. We are seeing more pit lane activity. This time there's a lot more. Kazar Ali, Rustin Karasha, Daniel Barger, Rem Olgor, Ed Scott's about to join in as well. Raj Kaczynski, Michael Turner. And boys on the drivers pitting here on lap A, just wanted to check on the situation here. No one is fuel right until the end. A lot of drivers are going to be pitting very early. Speaking of which, we are looking into Daniel Barger, who's also he's going to fuel right until the end. Will this undercut strategy for amongst the one-stoppers be the big winner strategy? As you can see, Michael Turner is also going to have a short pit stop. Because Arleo will also have a short pit stop. This will be interesting to see how these strategies unfold. Meanwhile, Kizarulia manages to get ahead of Yu Cheon. He's now up into 16th place at the moment. Barker's going to take a good amount of time in the pit lane right now. And he's going to take this opportunity while Damasha has yet to lap him for him to get himself a good amount of grid positions. Barker is still stationary. Damashnev comes across the final corner. Barker might at worst be a lap down to Damashnev and Williams, but right now Barker can at the very least know that he will not pit right until the end. Damashnev now comes into the pits. He will undercut Tyler Williams. Let's see how it goes. Barker gets out in last place right now, but he doesn't have to pit again. If he can have a good amount of clean air for himself and maintain consistently fast laps, then he should have a good chance of beating the other drivers in the pit lane right now. Damashnev is also going to be committed until the end. Is going to go for until the end of this race. Karashio as well, Riba as well, Kaczynski, yes, Byung-eun, Sky, Riba. They will also be pitting right until the end. Damashnev finally gets out. He will be in the clutches of Olgor, who, mind you, have yet to pit. But he should still be able to continue as normal. Leo up in 11th place, but he has to pit again if I'm not mistaken. So all of these pit stops from this point on should be good enough for these drivers to comfortably have their fuel loads be topped up to the max. I just want to check if DM100 is still working. Yes, DM100 is still working. So that is also something to pay attention to. Anyways, looking into the multiple other drivers who have made their pit stops throughout cycles, Kaczynski is taking a good amount of time in the pit lane, so he might actually be losing out on a lot. But again, beats Reba, beats Karashio, beats Sky. Here's Daniel Barger already coming into the final set of corners, but he might not be able to beat that Sky. That's Lorenzo Ricci, and Aldo Santana also comes into the pits as well. Checking the racing monitor right now, really, Tyler Williams is about to be called into the pits lane, as well as Goyena and Lorenzo Ricci. So these drivers are going to be set to continue on with their races as just continuing on as normal, as you can see here. Really, now 4th place with Bashira 3rd, Ricci 2nd, Williams 1st. Looking into the pit stops charts, these are the remaining drivers who have yet to make their pit stop. Speaking of which, Turner gets up in position after Tanaro and Goyena come into the pits. Here is the driver that you want to pay attention to, Raji Kaczynski. This will be a good benchmark to see where these drivers end up at the front. If Antara can have a very good pit stop, a very quick pit stop at that with the tire change and the fuel stop, then he's going to be in a serious position to get himself up front. Now we see Kaczynski coming across the main straight, and Tanara gets out. Kaczynski's right over there. They might go side by side, and Tanara beats him. DCM and Rio have to pit again. From what we're seeing, Tyler Williams now comes into the pits. Here are the leaders, especially Damashnev, who has had a very, very quick pit stop, mind you. So Damashnev is going to be taking a look into Williams and Ricci's progress as they're both now in the pit lane. Williams and now Bashira and Rinley, the last of the one-stoppers, have now come in for their pit stop. Damashnev at the final corner should be able to grab the lead comfortably and with a serious amount of margin to that. That was a very quick pit stop there from Damashnev, and this confirmation, Damashnev is going to be set to win his 3rd. And what a way for him to open up the Tsuyo Cup campaign with this win if he's able to hang on to this position. After was all full bright uniforms in her birthday live earlier this year. The whole Bremen story anniversary runner concert thing that she's hosted. The Mashnev, being a Rosenthal has its perks. You may not be representing the most popular Hololive member out there, but she is serviceable enough. She is well drilled, very reliable, and nice enough for the Mashnev to seize the opportunity. Aurelio comes out in 11th place. Washira comes out in 13th place. Just manages to beat Danilo Goyena, who have pitted again. They will be losing out to, at the very least, Daniel Barger, who is at the very least going himself up into 18th place. First driver to make the undercut strategy, and that hasn't really worked. And also the Mashnev who basically made his best out in the middle of the park. And also looking into the rest of the field here, Allgore is gonna have to pit again. Goodwin will have to pit again. Turner will have to pit again as well as Kizuhara Leo. Duciem also. So Tyler Williams is the first driver who's actually in net, he's in net second. So if you look at the intervals right now, the guys are pretty huge here. You can see Tomashev has already built a 30-second gap to Williams and Ricci. He's just had a very quick pit stop. A very quick pit stop for him to seize the opportunity, and he might actually tie the record for most wins in a Formula Hololive season at this stage, at just past the halfway stage of the season. He will equal Shazin Reza's record for most wins in a points-paying Formula Hololive race in the season with 3, and also Zeke Wimberly in Formula Hololive International. Although you could argue that Wimberly is a mere Super Pre merchant, he does have his qualities. Speaking of qualities, Williams is trying his best to find a way past the Mashnev. Speaking of lap cars, here's Cheon coming into West End, and here is the Mashnev also at West End. Lap cars are coming in way earlier than usual. Here's the Mashnev trying to cause a bit of trouble to Cheon, but Cheon is not gonna cause too much issues to the Mashnev. Which this actually might help Williams a bit, as you can see here, Cheon still stays around the inside of the Mashnev into the first corner, but at the end of the day she has to yield. First car a lap down is Cheon. Goodwin has to pit again. Cheon has already pitted. Allgore is yet to pit again due to the miscalculated fuel loads. Goodwin and Duciem coming to the pits. Wim Allgore might be joining them as well. Here's Reba in 11th place, trying to find something against Antanarao. Robot trying to stretch his legs against Antanarao, and right now he might actually peel down the inside, but he's too far back. Next car a lap down is Hoshizuna Ryo, who is currently 21 seconds back behind Barger. And here comes the Mashnev trying to dispatch. Down the inside goes the Mashnev. No problems for him to clear the lap car of Ryo. Served up on a silver platter, from what we're seeing. As the Mashnev now puts 2 cars a lap down at this stage of the race as well. Mentally, if you think about it further, but whatever the case is, this is pretty interesting to see the Rosenthal car in pure domination, and we're still waiting to have all of the remaining drivers to pit. Here's Michael Turner coming in. And here's Tyler Williams already at West End and victory. This just shows you the gap that the Mashnev has. And here's the Mashnev right now. Talk about an insane car that the Mashnev has had. Just saved his best for last in the qualifying session again. Sorry if every one of you basically has been unable to catch it. The internet just caught up at the worst possible time. Speaking the potential gap between Williams and the Mashnev, we are looking into the current situations here. Possibly 40 seconds ahead, and this is after pit stops. Look at the Mashnev says, oh, speaking of which, we apologize here actually. We didn't actually take into account the fuel loads. So apologies for our previous comments. He's also going to be yet to pit. So it's the Mashnev, Olgor, and Leo who will be the next drivers who will be coming to pit. Meanwhile, we have Karashu and Goyena who have been side by side. Same goes for Goodwin and Barger. They were side by side as well. We've seen some swapping of positions. So we are expecting the Mashnev to make a pit stop again, as well as Olgor and Leo. So Williams is going to be here to snatch the opportunity for the race lead. And Kizaru Leo comes into pit for Murasaki Shion as he now is going to be set for a few positions lost. Definitely against Williams, Ricci, maybe Kaziski and Tara, but he should be good for maybe 8th or 9th if luck is on his side. And now the Mashnev is currently on a chase against Duciem. Looking into the pit stop, race wheel monitor, Olgor is going to be next to make a pit stop. And then next up is the Mashnev, who is going to make a damn second stop. But if there is anything we've seen with Chanel Markman, he might still be able to take this race lead anyway with the freshest tires available. And there was this ebbing and flowing from Chanel Markman in terms of pace. But at the very least, we have the Mashnev still currently barreling down the restart, and he might be called into the pit lane in the next lap or two. And Kizaru Leo has exited in 17th place. And meanwhile, we have Goodwin and Barger going side by side here. We have Mio and Suisse Carz, both having good amounts of experience between, at least for the VTubers, in which Goodwin has beaten Barger. Olgor now comes into the pit as expected. He will be losing a good amount of time. And so the gaps look to be around 39 seconds between the Mashnev and Williams. He's currently dead set on winning this race for Amane Kanta. He has already won a Hololive GT3 race in February in the Okayama 400. He's going to be aiming to win it again for Kanata. But let's see where he goes from here. Looking at the gaps between the Mashnev and Williams, 43 seconds. It's not impossible for Williams to try to get this opportunity on the road. Olgor is actually had a pretty great pit stop here, all things considered. He's now exiting the pit lane right now, and he should be behind Bashira and should be ahead of Karashu. In the section of last of the Mashnev, let's take a good look at the progress charts now to see where the biggest gainers have been. Ri Liu, who have actually had a masterful pit stop strategy, has now gained 13 positions from his starting position. He's now up into 7th, but he's only here due to pit stop strategies. Then expect him to fall down the order. Maybe expect a 10th or 11th for him. The biggest loser right now is Kizaru Leo, who's lost 11 positions, or rather 8 positions from 11th, or rather 9th. He's now in 17th place. Damashnev is about to be called into the pit lane. Looking at this one, he is only got one lap of field to go. He's being told to push for as much as he can in his in-lap to the pits. Let's see where it goes from here for Damashnev. Meanwhile, Williams continues to barrel the racetrack around with some form of authority. But, of course, we need to pay attention, of course, to the developments of Damashnev, who's currently still pretty much okay at the moment. And then we have Rio was also getting dangerously close to DCM. And then we have Damashnev currently still in the race lead. There's Williams in second. And Rosa Ricci third place. And then we have just wanted to scroll around the other drivers here. And speaking of which, we haven't talked about Caminera Riba as much. As you can see here, that is Antanarao. So, two cats flying for 5th place. And right now is the domestic cat over the Wildcat, who's currently up there. As Damashnev finally comes into the pits, we also want to pay attention to Williams' positions right now, as Damashnev has finally been stationary inside the car. Williams should have the pace, the gaps, and the know-hows to get himself into the race lead. Meanwhile, Antanara and Riba still not much separating between the two. Meanwhile, Rio and Duciem on their own side-by-side battles, as Rio now tries to hang around in 18th place at Terrace Corner. They're still side-by-side. Duciem fights back. Oh, that was a good counterattack by Duciem there, as Tyler Williams have now officially overtaken Damashnev for the race lead. Lorenzo Ricci is going to follow. Kaczynski too. He's now getting out. Damashnev still on a pit limiter, but not anymore. Kaczynski should be able to clear. Damashnev now down to 4th. Here have a new race leader on our hands, Tyler Williams. It's a good set of hours for Williams. A good set of 18 hours, 20 hours for Williams. Like, on the afternoon, there was Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, two Brits occupying the front row at the British Grand Prix qualifying. And then there's also England just beating Switzerland on penalties. Calm as you'd like from the players, and of course Jordan Picker with that one crucial save. And now Tyler Williams going to make it very good for himself, for him to get up front. Meanwhile, we have Cheon and Duciem on their own battles, and we have some conclusions in the form of Cheon beating Duciem for 19th place on the position of whoever doesn't finish. On the position of whoever doesn't finish last. And you can see also So Byung-eun are now on the prowl against his fellow Gen 3 teammates, Hollow Fantasy teammate, Danilo Goyena, who's currently up in 11th place. Side by side goes Byung-eun, but too far back he is against Goyena. still stalemate between these two. As you can see here, they are just continuing on as normal. Here's something of a battle that we might want to pay attention to. Farah Bashira, who has now gained herself a few positions, she's now up in 8th place. The overcut strategy working very well for drivers who have only made a pit stop. Now outside of Really, who have gained a massive 13 positions from last place, Farah Bashira and So Byung-eun have each gained 7 positions for 7 positions each. Bashira started 15th and So Byung-eun started 19th. Very nice improvements from these drivers, as we could be seeing a lot more from them. Jae-Goodwin, now of course the official biggest loser in this race with 9 positions lost from the start. Tyler Williams gains 3 positions and he's currently inside the race lead. We're looking into some pretty interesting dynamics here. Damashev may be 4th, but he has the freshest tires out of anyone inside the top 3. So, and already Damashev is applying the pressure on Kaczynski. We're about to get into 40% race distance here in the Tokachi Super Prix Tsuyo Cup race, as Damashev continues to pile on the pressure on Kaczynski. And also apologies that my voice is not the best at the moment, as there was a football game I attended. It was absolutely crazy right until the end. If you know, you know, but whatever. Anyways, just want to give everyone a heads up. So Damashev has 3 gauntlets that he needs to face if he wants to get his 3rd win in Formula Hololive Japan here at the Tokachi Super Prix. It's him beating Kaczynski first. That's his first gauntlet. And then catching up and passing Ricci for the second one. And then the final gauntlet is, of course, beating Tyler Williams, who currently has a 10-second gap over Ricci and a 30-second gap over both Damashev and Kaczynski. Or rather, a 20-second gap over Damashev and Kaczynski. Oh, Damashev getting very close. He's going to go down the inside. He makes the move down the inside. You can see here Kaczynski has to move around the outside. Kaczynski having to defend. Damashev on the attack with the freshest tires available to anyone in this racetrack so far. Damashev now up into 3rd. First gauntlet done. Now he has to catch Lorenzo Ricci and see if he can have any more tires, especially coming into the next 30 laps. Meanwhile, Byung-eun and Goyena still have been going side by side. Now Byung-eun now is in 11th place. Starting to take shape. And as you can see here, Goyena now on the hunt against Byung-eun and there's Croscher and Olgor. So we're going to take a short break from commentary to rest the throat. So everyone, please stay tuned to the stream where there's going to be more racing action and more commentary to come. So I hope everyone is able to stay tuned. went to Tokachi Speedway. As you can see here, the Mashab has actually pulled back the gaps against Richie and also Williams, who also lost a good amount of time. And right now, there's not much of an issue right now, but if you want to talk about battles here, there's a lot of battles here right now. You can see here, Olgo getting very close to Tavara Bashira. The Subaru Luna battle is back. And this time, they're in the midfield. Shades of the fifth best. And you can see here, Bashira currently in 8th place against Antara in 7th. And also there's Kizaru Leo's potential battle with Daniel Barger. So pay attention to the top 3 right now as the Mashev is slowly catching up to Ricci and Ricci is slowly catching up to Williams. We're going to be taking a look into their previous laps, see where they end up. Anyways, Lorenzo Ricci 147.22, so this is something to pay attention to. As you can see, he's already gained like a second already, 139.598 for the Mashev. So this is a race that actually might ring into people's minds. As you can see here, the Mashev catching up to Ricci, who's catching up to Williams. The gap between first and third have now dropped down to 60 seconds. Ricci's gap to Williams now dropped down to 7.9 seconds. Those are struggling a bit at the moment here as we're about to reach the halfway stage of the Tokachi Super Prix. It's Tyler Williams versus Lorenzo Ricci. And then we also have the battle of the... we have Vlasa Domashnev also joining in as well. Ooh, down the inside, that corner goes Williams. No motivation, as you can see here, Barger and Leo also going side by side. They're now at turn 2. Barger had to yield. Now Kizaru Leo's in 16th. So 5 drivers occupied the non-point speeding positions with Leo Barger, Leo Cheon, and DCM currently inside. Nice to see some kind of support in the ALO in our streams here. And I'm not sure if the viewership is to be believed, but let's just hope that it is the case. Oops, speaking of which, we have Yu Cheon currently in 19th, DCM in last place. If you want to know where the leaders are, there is Tyler Williams. They are at the they are currently exiting they're currently at the back straight right now. Here's Tyler Williams currently just exiting, terracing out into this section. Check back on the names after this. But you can see here the gaps now drop down to 50 seconds between the Mashnev and Williams. Meanwhile, Olgor and Bashira going side by side. The Subaru Luna battle is up for debate. And that debate is going to go at the hands of Rim Olgor. But Farah Bashira has a response. Side by side, both of them go. Bashira on the inside, coming into terrace. She has the advantage coming into terrace. Pushes Olgor off wide. And now Kurashio's ready to attack. So Byung-eun, there's a chain reaction of events here. The lapless darkness ahead of the Shiranui Flare number 20, but the Shiranui Flare number 20 has to respond, and the response that was from Byung-eun to defend his 10th place. Bashira with a move that should be worthy of the title of a successor to Shazrin Reza, who has been looking for a successor in the Himori Luna number 31 for quite some time, and Bashira has been proving that she is indeed the case, but she's still got a long way to go to showcase what she can do as that Sky moves up into 12th place. The split beat champion not having a great day at the moment, especially as a champion. He's now in 12th place, but he does have a consistent run of form. He has finished on the podium for Iroha. Let's see how much farther he will go. Now dropped down to about 14 seconds. 14 seconds is now the gap. Interesting set of developments here in Tokachi Speedway. As the battles just keep on growing again. Midfield is currently rife with a lot of attack, a lot of defense, lots of racing action too. Comes more potential battles on the horizon. As you can see, there's a good train here between Tanara and the rest of the field. Bashira's ready to attack Tanara. And also Olgor, Byung-in, Goyena, Sky, Kurashio, and Turner. With Jay Goodwin being one of those lonely cars out there alongside Leo and Barger and Rio. Well, there's a battle for 18th place right now. If it's a 20-team football league with 3 relegation spots, then they're currently in a relegation scrap, and of course they're not going to get out of those relegation positions unless they get into 17th. But even then, in Formula Hololive, that doesn't even give you points. Car still strong even after the halfway stage, with 50% of the race to go, about less than 125 kilometers of racing still to come. There's still a lot of race to go, and with everyone basically setting in 142, and Tanneral not catching up to Ri Liu, who is now, mind you, have actually moved up to 6th place. And with that being said, he's now gained 14th position from the start. Manages to pass Tanneral earlier in the race. Guys between Tomashev and Williams, 13 seconds. And now Ricci has actually lost a good amount of time to Williams. And now you can see Tomashev on the hunt against Williams. Will Williams be able to deny Tomashev of win number 3 in Formula Hololive Japan? Tomashev down the inside. You can see here. See if there's any more potential battles to watch out for, as you might see something in this train. Kurashio in 13th, at Sky 12th, and 11th, Tobyuk in 10th on all the other drivers here. Olcort 9th, Bashira 8th, and Tanneral still maintaining his spot in 7th place. It just seems like in this year, he just can't catch a break in Hololive GT3, but it's because all of his eggs of luck have been in Formula Hololive. Which is just absolutely cruel if you're in Tanneral. Because, of course, you want to perform in both series for Caillou. And speaking of performances, here's Olgor now having to attack Bashira once again. Bashira's now on the defensive. Remember, if she can hang on around the outside at turn 2 and still remain side by side like what she's doing right now, she should be able to challenge Olgor to turn 3 and into Acorn. And coming to Terrace, Bashira with the inside line should be able to beat Rim Olgor. Olgor having to move aside. Here's Beyond in 10th place. Again, 11th. Again, great defensive driving from Bashira, because the reason Sheldon has picked him up as a driver replacement for him or Luna, as of course Sheldon Reza is moving to the Koseki Biju number 14 in the next Formula Hololive International season. Speaking of Formula Hololive International, we will be announcing the schedule in due course after the season, after the Suiozaka weekend of Formula Hololive Japan here at the Tokachi Speedway has concluded, we will be announcing the schedule and we will be announcing the next drivers in due course. Anyways, back here at Tokachi Speedway, as you can see here, Olgor and Bashira again trading blows between each other. And this time, Olgor manages to stay ahead. Here comes Bashira once again. They're still side by side this time at Terrace. And now coming into SG. This will be crucial if Bashira wants to defend. So you saw those battles brewing between Olgor and Bashira. And you can see here, there's just nothing separating between the Subaru and Luna cars these days. As you can see here, finally Bashira manages to defend her spot. She's not catching up to Antara this time. Younggun is ready to attack the duck car that's driven by Olgor. To check on the current development of the situation here. Here comes the Mashnev actually catching up to Lorenzo Ricci. Now the gap is 0.3 of a second. All the Mashnev needs is some good grips on the final corner and to prepare himself on that main straight. That is what he needs to do, and also to get him close enough for a move down the inside. And we have Olgor and Bashira now side by side. Once again, here comes part 4 from what we're seeing here, as Bashira continues to have superior grip around the outside. But if this might be a winner when it comes to rim, Olgor, he's now finally overtaken Bashira. 4 times was the charm for Olgor, as Bashira now has to fall down the order. Here's the Mashnev at West End. And coming into victory, well, the gaps closed down. And right now, signs are looking at the Mashnev catching up to Ricci. It's just that Ricci needs have a pretty decent run if he wants to defend his second place. And right now, the first step is already done. The first gauntlet's done. The second gauntlet is still giving the Mashnev a bit of a headache, as Ricci manages to almost match the Mashnev's pace. So stalemate it is, with 60% of the race formally passed. .150 kilometers of racing concluded. We are going to be going for another 100 kilometers left. And this time Bashira trying her best to catch up to Olgor, but to no avail. There's just not much grip, and that number 31 Himamori Luna car. Also a funny story right now, Shazin Reza is still representing Himamori Luna in Hololive GT3 in his pursuit to win the Hololive GT3 title in what should be his final season for Luna, before he fully commits to the Koseki Bijou number 14 full-time. But let's see where he goes from here, as it's still going to be a pretty tough proposition. A pretty tough charge for Shazin Reza's Hololive GT3 tenure. And back in the Formula Hololive here, he at the very least knows what he's doing when it comes to driver recruitments, and Bashira has been the driver to pick. Of course, for what we're seeing here, she has connections to Markman, Chanel Markman, who have won yesterday's race the Tokachi Speedway Zaku Cup race. Meanwhile, looking into Williams, who is actually only at turn 3 and coming into Acorn. Cheon and Duciem right now are at SG and coming into Paddock Bend. And here's Williams right now. So he's gonna catch lap cards earlier than Chanel Markman did in his Zaku Cup race. But I'll tell you this, at the very least for him, he shouldn't have too much issues passing these lap cars due to the supreme difference in lap time or rather pace, that they'll have to move out of the way. And Williams obviously just showing the door, showing them the door and showing what he's got, and also did not interfere in his race against Ricci and Dabashev. That's pretty much opened up, except Goyena and Sky, who are looking into their cats, are getting close to each other. Is on board Sky in the number 16 Tazamayu Roha car. Just wanted to also remind you that we're gonna have to take a slight break here, just to rest the throat once again. So Mike can just mind us if we are gonna have a slight break in commentary, so stay tuned. And we're now back here in Tokachi Speedway, see if we can get something here. Sky not close enough to Goyena there, as he still basically doesn't have the right amount of pace at the final corner. Doesn't have a good exit just yet, but you can see here also the tire wear. You notice something at actually the right sides. And if you notice on the right side, there's a lot of wear on the right side, so you can see here, although there's more of those left-hand corners than the right. Just shows you that there's a lot of graining on that side of the car. You can see the front right absolutely take a huge beating. As we're gonna check to see if there's anything going on. Anyways, I just wanted to check what's going on here in Tokachi. Well, Russell Speed actually carried over at West End. You can see here it was slightly banked. And looking at the rest of the field here, Dabashev is still struggling to get past Lawrence and Ricci. Williams is now getting closer than ever to the lap cars of Cheon and Duciem. Those are the first lap cars that he needs to pass. Lots of new intriguing things that we can look out for in this portion of the season. Of course, we have Farah Bashirov showcasing that she's got what it takes to represent Himura Luna at this level. Of course, she has to defend off against one of Rim Olgor, who has had a good amount of experience under his belt. Of course, he joined mid-season in 2023, replacing Hans-Heinrich Heinz. But he pulled up his own heroics. He's won for Ozora Subaru twice in Hololive GT3, giving Subaru's total win tally to 5. actually matches Tokino Sora's Yukano Lami and Cosimo Moriluna's win record in Hololive GP3. That was until Chasman won his 6th for Moriluna. So the record still stands at Luna's favor with 6. At least that's what I can remember from what we're seeing. Okay. We're gonna need to check back on the history books, see what record Shazam has in before he won Luna in Hololive GP3. As okay, there was 2 Akayama races, Sepang race 1, and then Fuji postseason, and then the Suzuka 500. At least that's the races that I can remember in the back of my head. Not sure if he's already won his 6. If he does, then it will be very amazing. Also, I would say that at least 4 drivers, or at least 3 drivers, have had 5 or more wins in Hololive GP3, as we mentioned, Sora, Lami, Subaru, and Luna. And of course, for Subaru, she has gotten her 5th win in Hololive GP3 by virtue of Rim Olgo winning last week's Tsukuba 400. And now coming into the Tokachi Speedway, and here comes Rio and Cheon side by side between each other. Cheon's going to try to challenge Rio. Rio's probably wants to try to defend as much, attack as much as he can, but he has to think about the big picture. The big picture is just managing times right until the end. Speaking of which, Tyler Williams is now stuck behind lap constantly. If he doesn't get the pass Maverick UCM in due course, then it's going to open the door for Richie and Damashnev, actually, for them to make it a 3-horse race on the race lead. Out of the 3 drivers currently inside the top 3, only Tyler Williams has yet to win a race in Formula Hololive. Richie and Damashnev have won twice a pop. And they're looking to have win number 3 in their Formula Hololive careers. And if you want to talk about successful drivers in aero competitions, Damashnev 2 in Formula Hololive, 3 in Hololive GP3, of course all of them for Aki Rosenthal, that makes it 5 in all competitions. He's doing very good. Meanwhile, Williams has some work to do. Richie is not stuck behind anyone, neither does Damashnev. And Williams needs to pass Maverick UCM as soon as possible. Coming to the main straight, as you can see here, Williams is getting closer and close and close, but will it be close enough for him? He makes the move, but has to think otherwise. He's not too close. He's not close enough. Richie's gonna open. It's gonna open the door for Richie and Damashnev for sure. Yeah, 36 laps complete here in Tokachi Speedway as Tyler Williams still continues to continue his charge in this race. Williams, will he make a move down the inside? Not a chance, as you can see here. UCM actually had a better exit on that corner at Paddock Bend before the back straight. And right now you can also see here the difference in setup. You can see here Williams has the lower downforce car, so he's going to struggle to follow UCM in the corners. And here's a bit of an extra crucial information. Here is Richie and Damashnev ready to pounce on the opportunity against Williams. Much more balance between Russ and Crosio and that Sky. Both Holux cars on their own. As you can see, Crosio has beaten Sky. And now Michael Turner sniffing for an opportunity. Will there be anything to it that we can note? Also, a nice helmet there for Michael Turner here. Has a bit of an Australian tinge in it. No surprise. Tyler Williams now finally, formally side by side against Ducian to formally put him a lap down. And to be clear right now, that'll do him a lot of wonders. But of course, Ducian's gonna provide some trouble. But not anymore, as Williams now has put the lap car of Ducian a lap down. Funny how the Ducian's story has been. Last April, he won the Tsukuba Super Prix for Omar Polka, which essentially gives Omar Polka her first aero win in her career. And also Ducian's first win in his aero career. Of course, for this season, Reba and Ducian swapped places. Reba drove for Botan, while Reba drove for Polka for much of 2023, and Ducian drove for Botan for much of 2023, and now for their first full season in the aero together, they are swapping positions, but of course, Reba is actually on course to swap back to the Polka ride coming into next season. Being the Gen 5 guy that he is very much open to representing the Gen 5 members, no matter who they are. Picking across show, he's getting very close there to Goyena, getting himself up into 11th place. Williams now stretching his gap. Ricci is gonna look to find a way past Ducian. Here's Tomashev also winning in the wings. We have 38 laps complete, 12 laps to go. 75% of the race has been concluded. We're now coming down to the last 25. Brascio also getting very close there to Goyena. Intriguing race there, more intriguing than the Zacco Cup, at least that's what we can attest. And here comes Brascio, really trying to stretch as much as he can to find a way past Goyena. And I think he should have the slipstream. He is closer than ever to Goyena. He should be able to make a move down the inside. He is going to make a move down the inside. He's almost alongside turn one. He's going to commit to the move down the inside. As you can see here, Croscio now on the inside. And Goyena's on the outside. Goyena being shuffled off wide. And Croscio now has 11th place. Great stuff. Here's Reba and Kaczynski. Reba, who has been pretty good in Formula Hololive so far this season. He has missed the Tsuyo series in Hololive GT3, but is in the Tsuyo Cup, where it kind of matters for Botan. But the case is, here's Reba getting pretty close there to Kaczynski. As you can see, Kaczynski has a lower downforce wing from what we're observing right now, and he's not close enough to make a move down into turn one. But again, back to Reba's potential. He has won the biggest races in the Fuji Speedway, the Capture the Moment Grand Prix Split A race. He's also won his first Hololive GT3 race in the Tsukuba 400 Zacco Series race. He's won in both series right now, and he's looking to make it two in Formula Hololive Japan. But right now, even he has to believe that getting this win is nigh and impossible with about over 10 laps to go. And you can see here, here's Ricci and Williams, still where they are at the moment. Now you can see Williams is now stuck behind Hoshizonoriya. Meanwhile, Sobyung-en and tries to dispatch against Farah Bashira, and dispatch he did, as Bashira now moves down to 10th place. She's going to be under pressure from Horacio, which also goes to show that far, but she has got good raw potential. She just needs to see some extra development, extra refinement to see if she can be a good finished product, a good, an interesting lunate that can get the job done. Meanwhile, here comes Riba. Now much closer than ever to Kaczynski. But Kaczynski is actually matching Riba on the straight. Rather, Kaczynski manages to just hang around in 4th place right now. Very nice to see. We've now completed 40 laps here in Tokachi Speedway. With 10 laps to go, it's still pretty much up in the air to see who will be able to win it, as Williams is now stuck behind Rio, who is actually on the battle against Yu Cheon. Williams knows he has to pass Rio as soon as possible. Rio struggling with grip, struggling with the tires. Williams just wanting to clear those 2 lap cars to have a breather, because he knows there's a 60-second pouch between Cheon and Barger. So he needs to exploit that space as much as possible. All he needs to do is to exploit the main straight, where he has been pretty good at. You can see the rear wing that he has right now. Getting close, but not close enough. Richie is grinning at this opportunity to try to make it 2 in a row for him. Damashnev is going to try to make it 3. Richie's going to try to make it 3. They're all chasing. Well, crucial for Damashnev, he's still stuck behind. Or rather, he's no longer stuck behind DuCM. Well, he's not stuck behind DuCM yet, for what we're seeing. Oh no, he's already passed. Damashnev has yet to pass DuCM for what we're seeing. Richie has already passed DuCM. And now the gap's dropped down to under a second between Lorenzo Ricci and Tyler Williams. It's the Suspicious Pirate against the PP Tenshi for the top spot here in Tokachi. Who's going to be taking the top spot? Who's going to be taking the glory here in Tokachi Speedway? Tyler Williams is trying his best to grab his first win in Formula Hololive after winning in Hololive GT3 last February. Lorenzo Ricci wants to try to make it 3 this season and to have his best start in the Tsuyo Cup. Final corner. Richie knows he's got a golden opportunity to steal race lead away from Williams. Williams is just begging for those lap cars to move out of the way, but again, they are not going to yield. And as you can see here, Williams getting very close, but not close enough. Crucially, Lorenzo Ricci is grinning at this opportunity again. Eight laps to go here in Tokachi Speedway, and the race is far from over. It's much closer than it was yesterday. Williams just needs that little bit of something in him to be able to pass those lap cars by pure raw pace, and if he can do that, then he's in a serious position to steal something big. And not really steal something, he is already, well, he technically is stealing, as he stole the top spot away from Damashnev. Who actually does manage to recover very well. He's now up into 3rd place, manages to beat Kaczynski after he rejoins in 4th place. Half a second, the gap between Ricci and Williams. And right now, there is still gonna be something up in the air as we're about to go to essentially 7 laps to go. Williams is now the closest he's ever been to Hoshizono Rio. He's going to try to move Rio out of the way, but Rio is managed to keep the gap on. Here comes Lorenzo Ricci down the inside to try to steal something from Tyler Williams. Williams has made a mistake as Rio manages to grab something away, close the door against Williams. Williams got to be furious about Rio's driving. Probably dropping C word, but we're not going to air that on the radio. Anyways, Williams needs to do two things right now, and he has to do both at the same time. Defend against Lorenzo Ricci, maintaining his race lead, and also maintaining his race lead, while also at the same time find a way past these lap cars for him to have a buffer, that extra sense of safety and security. And right now, Williams is not having that right now, and he's very desperate to pass Rio, and he's passing him in the wrong places. He needs to be very careful. Ricci, who's been very good in these downforce sections, and of course, Williams has to watch over that. He's had experience leading races. He last led at Fuji Speedway. He's gonna try to, at the very least, lead until the end, and to not be denied by lap cars. Here's Williams coming into the main straight once again. Very close this time, but not close enough. He should be able to pull away against Ricci. He has to lift off. There's not much of a gap. He's opening the door for Ricci to attack once again. 6 laps to go. Ricci down the inside. This time he's staying strong on where he is right now, coming into Acorn. But Will still has the inside line coming into Terrace, and that should help him in his defense. He stalled Ricci's advancements up front. Ricci really wants to try to make it a double, a 2 in a row for his races entered. He's won the Tsuyo Grand Prix in the last Formula Hololive meeting. He wants to try to make his second Formula Hololive meeting, his first Formula Hololive meeting since winning that race, to be a win again, and to make it 2 consecutive wins for Lorenzo Ricci. As you can see here, Williams needs to try to find the right pass, the right moment to make the overtake against Hoshizono Rio, who's actually also trying his best to catch Yu Cheon. Here's Williams. And now you can see he's actually had a very, very good run off that final corner with that lower downforce setup. He should be able to catch. And now he should be even more comfortable down the inside against... No! He hasn't been able to make the pass. 5 laps to go. But fortunately, Lorenzo Ricci is not close enough to make the pass. And crucially for Vlasa Debashnev, with both of them still stuck behind lap traffic, and with Debashnev already making the pass against DuCM, this opened up to a 3-horse race right at the end. 5 laps, or rather under 5 laps to go, and this situation at the end of this race has gone absolutely crazy. Williams is now struggling for grip. Look at the tires that he's had. The final stages of this race. Final 90%, the final 10% of this race. Williams needs to be patient. He needs to know how to properly defend, at the very least against Ricci and Debashnev. He cannot pass Rio and Cheon. If you wish more things, I'm gonna talk about Rim Olga trying to attack Alcantara, Björkman catching Alcantara, Bashir also waiting in the wings, Karasu and Goyena as well. There's also Ed Sky and Michael Turner and Jake Goodwin as well. Here's them at the final corner. coming to the main straight. Here's Vlasa Damasha trying to get close. He's going to try to make a move down the inside against Lorenzo Ricci right now. He's now alongside Lorenzo Ricci coming into turn 1. Williams is now almost alongside Rio once again. And Damashev and Ricci going side by side. Damashev's on the inside, Ricci's on the outside. Ricci needs to hang it around the outside for as much as he can to force Damashev into a defensive position. And Damashev manages to make his pass to second place. Damashev is unstoppable right now. The energy that Aki Rosenthal is carrying is in Damashev's veins. The Rosenthal energy is absolutely crazy. And now Damashev is 1 car away from making it 3 wins. And what's got to be a very amazing season for Damashev so far. And for him to start the Tsuyo Cup in the best way possible. Not until Lorenzo Ricci has anything to say about it. Will Ricci think about a dive bar down the inside to surprise Damashev and to give Williams a bit of that sigh of reprieve and relief. You can see here Damashev really is enjoying this car right now. He's got more grip than the 4 cars that he's surrounded at. That he's being surrounded. Coming into 3 laps to go. Damashev really needs to find a way past Williams soon. Williams is having a pretty good exit off that final corner. Just needs 3 more circuits. He's not peeling down the inside. He needs to make the pass. The pass is not done. Damashev is ready to pounce. Again, he could not break down Hoshizona Rio. And right now they're still at it side by side. Goes Damashev and Williams. Williams isn't going to give up this position easily. Manages to defend a terrace. And you can see here Lorenzo Ricci is going to try to counterattack round the outside. NSG. The battle for second. The battle for the race lead extended to 3 cars. It's still anyone's game inside the top 3. That is if they don't crash. Williams just needs 2 more laps. It's going to be the longest 10 laps of his career so far for him to fend off Damashev and Ricci, 2 of Formula Hall Japan's current best drivers who have been ripping it throughout the entire season so far, and not just in qualifiers but in the Tsuyo Cup as well. They are currently the favorites to bring home the title for either Aki Rosenthal or Hosha Marine at the end. Williams again tries to get closer and closer. He at the very least would want to have that slipstream from Hoshizona Rio for him to just stay at the front, but he needs to make the pass, and no pass is being done. Here comes Damashev, round 3, 4. Oh, that's a surprise dive bomb. Is Williams ready for it? He's still side by side. They're still side by side. Williams still hangs on. Lap 49, penultimate lap of the Tokachi Super Free split Tsuyo Cup race. And now you can see here, it's going to be the same moves all over again. Ricci now on the outside and still not being able to break down. Damashev has one last chance to attack Williams. If Williams still cannot pass Hoshizona Rio, then that is his golden opportunity to win the Tokachi Super Prix race. It's an interesting set of circumstances coming into the final stages of this race. We hope everyone is able to tune into this magical experience, as Williams is now not catching up to Rio as much as he could, but this might be a good thing, as if he doesn't go offline, then Damashev might not be able to find a way past as Williams might still be able to carry a good amount of minimum speed. But again, here we see Rio absolutely struggling against Cheon. And now we're at the final lap of this Tokachi Speedway Tsuyo Cup race. And now he's going to go side by side once again. Again, same issues, left, right, center. Will it speed the dagger that pierces Williams' heart? Williams, he refuses to die. But that might not be the case. Domashnev has stolen it at the death at the final lap. Heartbreak for Tyler Williams. The final lap. He just needed to keep it under control, but he has slipped it away. He's thrown it away. He's balled his best chance of winning a Formula Hololive Japan race for Amane Kanata, who's hit the high notes very often at this point. And it's now going to be Vlasa Domashnev who's going to make easy pickings against Hoshizuna Ryo. That just adds insult to injury. Domashnev, who has been fastest out of anyone so far in this weekend, is about to convert his pole position to what has got to be his finest race wins. Not the most dominant one, but he is showing his potential. The rose of the lamp is shining bright for Vlasa Domashnev. Chalice is his anthem. And Aki Rosenthal is his Oshi. Rounding out the final corner, Vlasa Domashnev. The loyal Rosenthal does it again. This time overtaking on the final lap to win the Tokachi Speedway Tsuyo Cup race. Absolutely agonizing for Tyler Williams, who had been leading this race until the final lap. He was overtaken on the final lap against the driver that has defied the odds throughout this entire season. Williams could at the very least be proud by the fact that he finished second. Kaczynski finished 4th, Ryba 5th, Ricci 3rd. Real is about to cross the line to finish 6th, and Tara will hang on to 7th place. Olga will hang on to 8th, Byung at 9th, Farah Bashira 10th. Rustim Karashio 11th, Danilo Goyena 12th, Etsky 13th, with Michael Turner 14th, Goodwin 15th. He will be taking the final points positions with Leo Barger, Cheon, Rio, and Duciem, the drivers who are not going to be scoring points today. And Vlasa Domashnev, take a bow to him. He has been absolutely amazing this season. No two ways about it. He's been amazing. Absolutely clinical in his driving. Strategy is done right. He's made 2 pit stops, but he's done the Chanel Markman, but this time he has to fight for it. And talk about a battle that he has. This has got to be one of his most finest wins. For sure. And he now has 6 wins for Aki Rosenthal. With that being said, the race finally concludes. We'll talk about that in full detail later. That being said, here we have Vlasa Domashnev taking the win for Aki Rosenthal. 3 wins in Hololive GT3. 3 wins in Formula Hololive, make it 6 for him. He's going to edge closer to Shazin Reza's record for Himamori Luna. 6 plus 4 are, I think... Well, I think it's a minimum of 8 or 9. But still, that's going to be something of a record that Domashnev is going to try to aim for as he grabs his 3rd win of the season. Let's see if he can get his record-breaking season going. Tyler Williams has to be hurt knowing that he lost this race in one of the most agonizing ways for Amane Kanata. A loss on the final lap of the race. And then we have Lorenzo Ricci, who finished 3rd for Hosha Marine, 4th for Raji Kaczynski for Yusuke Choko, coming in at Reba, 5th for Shishiro Botan, Raylio 6th for Sakabata Chloe, 7th place for Okayu and Antarao, 8th place for Rim Olgor and Ozora Subaru, 9th place to Sobyang and Shiroi Flair, and Farah Bashira makes her debut in Formula Hololive Japan and ends up with 10th place for Himamori Luna. 11th place goes to Racing Carrasco for Lapless Darkness. 12th place goes to Daniel Goyena for Sada Pecora. And 13th place goes to Ed Sky for Kazama Iroha. 14th place goes to Michael Turner in the Shogai Noel number 08. And Jake Goodwin takes the final points positions for Okami Mio. Kizura Leo 16 for Murasaki Shion. Daniel Barger 17 for Shimaki Suisei. 18th place goes to Yu Che-yan for Takani and Louis. And those are the last drivers who finished on the lead lap. Yoshizuna Rio finished a lap down, finished 19th, and Maverick Duciem also finished on a lap down in 20th. And so, we're gonna do a bit of a saving first, see if there's anything to note. But what a race we saw. One of the most fun Tokachi races we've seen. And unlike in 2023, where it's been a stalemate until the end, and the 2024 Zako Cup race, the Tsuyo Cup race has been a race of basically, it's basically a race of ups and downs. Just total crazy, just everywhere you go. But that being said, let's take a look into the championship standings as we're about to close this stream for good. Well, of course, we have Lars Demashnev taking the championship lead for Aki Rosenthal. Tyler Williams second for Amani Kanata. Lorenzo Ricci third for Hosha Marine, with Raji Kazuchi fourth for Yuzuki Choko. And fifth place goes to Kaminai Reba for Shishiro Botan. Sixth goes to Ray Liu for Chloe. And Tanara 7 for Okayu. Olgar 8th for Ozora Subaru, with Sobyang in 9th for Flair. And 10th place goes to Farah Bashir, who's done a pretty decent job on her debut for Himori Luna. 11th, Rasim Karasho for Lapless Darkness. Daniel Goyena 12th for Sada Pecora. 13th, Ed Sky for Kazama Iroha. Turner 14th for Noel. And Jake Godwin, of course, takes the final points position for Okami Mio. 16th goes to Kizuhara Leo for Shion. 17th goes to Barger for Suisei. 18th to Hoshizuna Yucheon for Takane Louis. 19 goes to Hoshizuna Rio for Ayame. And last place is Maverick Duciem for Omar Polka. With that being said, we will not have any more streams until the end of, or rather at the start of August, where we'll have either the first Formula Hall International race or the Autopolis Super Prix to continue our Tsuyo Zako Cup run. So with that being said, we'd like to thank everyone for your support in the stream. My name is Mama Shadin Rizza in the commentary booth, and you've been watching the Tokachi Super Prix Tsuyo Cup race. We'll see you in August for the next race. Take care.